Yes, I absolutely love this question. So good.
Hey there. To get started with this interview, start by introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm a calligrapher, lettering artist, signwriter. I do various projects, anything to do with letters, really. But I specialise in blackletter calligraphy and blackletter scripts, anything gothic, really.
Do you have any childhood memories? Something very strong about how you really got into playing with letters?
Childhood memories. I have found some old little cards and like leaflets I made as a kid and school projects, that kind of thing. And yeah, I can see all like I've made borders with letters and like various illustrations. All the writing is like bubble or various extravagant ways of writing letters. So I think maybe there's definitely like a pull to letter forms from an early age, but I've always been into art, fine art, and drawing, etc. So I can't imagine not doing that. So all my memories are based around that. Anyway,
And was there any aha moments in your professional career?
I don't necessarily remember an aha moment per se, but I do remember feeling extremely frustrated in my final year of university that I wasn't good. Like I could look at my work and the stuff I was doing and I know it was bad and know that I had so far to go until I was good. And that was the most frustrating thing. And I just had a lot of practice in between where I was and where I wanted to be. But I guess the aha moment, there was lots of little ones over several years after that year, after that point in my life where slowly but surely I was understanding certain things, or like I would step up and start doing something with my letters, with my calligraphy, that just excelled it a little bit further than it had been before. I did an online class with Luca Barcelona, maybe, oh God, I don't know, like 2018 or 2020. And that definitely helped my practice.
Why do you think other people should actually care about crafting their own alphabets, their own fonts?
I think it all depends on what you intend to do with it or who's going to be using it. Like if you're a designer already and you want to make your own fonts quickly and easily, maybe you haven't done that before, or if you're new to the field of typography and letters and you just want to have a go, you want to use a template by somebody else to kind of show you what the shape is meant to look like, and then drawing over it can be a massively beneficial way of learning how each letter is formed, especially using different tools like a broad nib or a brush, a pencil, like just by physically copying another piece of work or by copying what you see, you learn, it's ingrained in your brain, and it's really useful to start memorizing those forms. And there's certain methods put in place for people to learn a specific style of writing, both in the UK and America, and I'm sure across the world as well. Everyone does do everything on laptops or phones, or it's very easy to just use a digital keyboard. And I think it's important to keep alive the hand-drawn element of letter forms and typography and scripts. And yeah, I think for anybody it's beneficial.
So, what's your experience with font creation software?
Yeah, so I made a few fonts in the past. I used Glyphs for them, or Glyphs Mini, I think it was, like the kind of starter app. It was for a perfectionist brain, it was really good to kind of delve in really deep, and it did take a long time. It was a little complex starting out, and I had to learn how to use everything, but it was really good. And I would say if you're starting out and haven't made a font before, and you want to just quickly make a font that is unique, that inspired by something that's close to you, you know, it could be absolutely anything like cats, dogs, or clouds, or something like that, where you can draw straight the form straight onto the device. I think Fontself is way better for beginners because you can see quickly your designs turn into a font, and I think that's really motivational for people starting out. I think if you were to use another app that is quite tricky to get the hang of and you need a lot more knowledge about typography and forms to begin with, then it might be quite debilitating or off-putting. So yeah, I would say for a beginner, definitely start out with Fontself.
Did you have any surprise when you started using Fontself on iPad?
Yeah, I think for me, such an amazing feature was drawing straight into vector, because there's some applications and programs on computers that let you do that, draw with a brush tool, and it is a vector, but nothing quite like using the pen on the iPad straight away. It feels so controllable and it's instantly a vector form, which I've done lettering pieces for a long time now, and going from a hand-drawn sketch to a digital mock-up replication and then transferring that into that pixel form into a vector form, it's a lengthy process, and it was crazy to just open the app and be like, oh, I can literally just draw this straight away and it's a vector. And I instantly thought, wow, I could create lettering pieces like this, I could do so much, and I'm yet to explore that. So that's exciting.
Do you have any rituals or a routine to get started when you need to go into the creative flow?
Honestly, no, I don't have any. It often depends on whether I start the day right, get a coffee, come to the studio, or work from home. I mean, to get into the workflow, it really depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing calligraphy, I'll often do a lot of warm-ups. I'll write the alphabet with an N in between each letter. And just do a body of text and try and do you know what? A lot of the time I'm just seeing whether I've got the stroke straight away, because some days my hand just does not work. My body and mind obviously are disconnected, and it's difficult to produce the calligraphy I want to produce. And sometimes I just say, not today, I'll do it tomorrow instead, which often works just fine. But yeah, to warm up, I think music definitely helps better with the creative flow. Honestly, getting into the flow is completely different every single time I do it, but I think I need to feel settled. So familiar music, good music, warm-ups and practice. I think it just depends on how you feel on the day as well, which is uncontrollable.
Many people actually get into a creative block, and I was wondering whether you had some tricks about how you can overcome these creative blocks.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Especially with clients' projects when you've got deadlines, it's really difficult to if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it, and forced creative work is never good, in my opinion. But I think the biggest thing I try and do is do something completely different. So if I've got to sit at a desk and do some work, I'll go for a run or do some gymnastics or yoga, and it's gonna like exert a lot of energy in another sense, so that when I come back, I'm in a completely different mindset. But I think a lot of people struggle less so with that, but with creating stuff, and they're like, what do I create, what do I do, like I don't know where to start. And it's easier to overcome because there's a few little tasks you can do to just kickstart the creative juices. Get a piece of paper and just take a pen, literally to just scribble on the page, try and do something that you've never done before, find an image off the internet or go outside and try and draw something. Even if you're not wanting to do illustration or landscape painting or anything, like if you want to do letters, go and draw something physical in real life and then try and come back to your letters, and you might even bring something back that you've learned from that process. And you can do this with every kind of art. Like, this is just an example. That's often what I do. Like, if I'm not feeling calligraphy or typography at all, then I'll go and draw portraits and attacking it from a different perspective.
Where you see the whole type and lettering industries go over the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, weird one. I don't obviously know where anything's going to go AI wise, as nobody does really. It's very unknown territory, but I'm really not concerned about the creative industries at all. I think people might go to AI for art, but people are going to pay way more for human expression and human creativity. So I don't think we have to worry about anything there. I think for people who enjoy drawing letters, like, it becomes part of the human story. It's thousands and thousands of years humans have been doing this, and we will for thousands more if we exist as a species. I think that's what's important and interesting about it. I'm not really concerned. The industries generally, I think with all the accessibility, it's going to open it up way more to absolutely everybody to create things like fonts or artwork or pieces that is an expression of absolutely everybody, and not just those that are trained in that field, which, there's pros and cons of both. But I think there's scope for everyone to learn more about letters. It should be interesting to everybody because I find it really interesting.
Are there any creatives out there from whom you would like to learn more about?
I'm absolutely awful at answering questions like this because there is such a huge array of people that I am inspired by and who I want to learn more about. And this changes so regularly. But everything from sign writers to calligraphers, and I think probably the people who I'd want to have in front of me are those that have died or, that are inaccessible otherwise, was Snooze, one lettering artist from Germany. He's amazing, and his processes are so creative. I don't know any other way of putting it. He experiments with so much different stuff, and he's ace. He's a lovely guy.
And the last one, just to give us some fresh air, is to know whether there are like 3 songs that you really enjoy in these moments.
Yes, I absolutely love this question. So good. There's too much to choose from. I'm just going to go for Ewa Inu by Kokoroko. Great track. I think that's how you say it. I've been listening to A Long Time by Maya Hawthorne. Okay, recently I've been listening to Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin. It's just so soulful. I love her so much. But there's so many songs I could go for. I'm just going to leave that. Otherwise, I could go on a big rant about all the songs. But I think feel-good music is so important. The end.